Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast, a show by Elsewhere and Beyond run using the Witcher TRPG by R.Talsorian Games. So before we begin today, I do just want to do a little shout out. Some of you may have noticed that Gorm and Oda are each playing professions that you can't find in the official rulebooks. That's because they are 2 of our 6 unique homebrew professions. These are completely free to download and use in your own games, and you can find them over on our website, elsewhereandbeyond.com. We absolutely loved making them, and we just really hope that you love playing them too. And if you do, then we'd love to hear from you. So come on over to Twitter, which is @elsewherebeyond. There's no and in that one. And give us a follow for even more future content. So without further ado, let's now return to The Witcher, Chaos on the Pontar. The city of Oxenfurt is a grand statement to the arts, to innovation and the academics. The streets are lined with markets and colourfully dressed folk as they cheer and share ales in the light of day, enjoying the weather and the good company. The pointed city roofs loom tall, only broken by the masts of ships docked behind them. Merchants and sellers bay for your attention as you pass, and dancers can be seen performing with bard members and bards alike. There is a sense of peace and creativity here, and even during your quest for answers, surely the thought of rest and relaxation does not escape you.
We find Doctor now.
And you are just there, Werebub Gorm, in the middle of the street now, after coming out of these buildings, in this kind of open-air market with your friends around you. But what's quite nice about this is you're not the weirdest person in your group. There's a large, muscular, cat-eyed witcher to your left. You're there, probably stinking up a fuss just as equally, so you're not the only oddity anymore.
Perhaps that's why we feel such a kinship.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Where is Mr. Doctor?
A doctor plucked from the summer vines.
Hmm.
I'm gonna mulls over the words.
What is summer wine?
Vine. It's you know wine?
No.
Well, it's like ale, but it's made out of fruit. Grows on vines.
Gorm likes the red ale.
Well, talking of ale, actually, from this market here, the people trading and giving their goods and wares for coin, you do see a rather large building just past the market. The typical trappings and signs of an alehouse, or an inn, as more common people would call it.
Have I been in Oxenfurt before?
Do you think you have? In your wanderings?
Might have crossed, yeah.
Maybe your memory's a bit foggy. Yeah, it's a pretty kind of like... It's a very creative little town. It's a city officially, but it's quite compact. And usually the people are quite friendly here, though this is part of the Kingdom of Redania, so all things considered, witch hunters are very much their shtick at the moment, as one could say. But you know that is probably called the Three Little Bells Inn. And it's the main and most central drinking establishment here with rooms and whatnot.
We go ask in man. Man in man in. He know doctor. Yeah.
Not a bad idea, but he might ask us why we're looking for a doctor, if we do not know his name.
Oh, Gorm's leg hurt. Ah.
Oh, very good.
Ah.
And he just walks around on the spot, faking a really bad... Actually, no, go ahead and roll me a performance check.
Well, actually, Gorm's leg is hurting a bit from yesterday.
Oh, you do have an injury. Well, then no performance check needed. He has bruises forming under that fur.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Convincing makeup you have there on your leg.
Very good acting, slaps leg.
Looks like we do have a bard.
Someone at that moment does a full chord on their lute, and it just hits the moment perfectly. So it's off to the Three Little Bells. It's a cozy establishment, lined with flower beds below its windows, hustling and bustling with busy patrons, merchants and sailors alike. And outside of the inn, however, is a large wooden notice board. I mean, do you guys think you'd look at that before going in? What's the Witcher's impulses like?
The Witcher sees a notice board, and there's a sort of duality here where he's just like,
Well, you are met with a couple of posters on the notice board. There is one familiar, which you did see lying around in Novigrad. It's wanted poster, dead or alive, Ilya Kelisar for 3,000 crowns. There's a picture of a very beautiful woman with dark skin, kind of silky smooth black hair, pulled up into a ponytail as it rests over her shoulder, and she's got this beautiful, like a Middle Eastern garb that goes over her shoulders. It's very, very nice. And then there's another poster called Help Wanted. The recent murders are putting off our clientele. Capable sellswords should visit Madame Bertha at the Rosebud. And the last one, which is pulled out right across the notice board to get as much attention, says, half price in rooms. Let not the murders of late put you off a luxurious stay at the Three Little Bells. Stay off those nighttime streets in style.
Wow, a way to make a buck out of this.
The Witcher's gonna probably just memorize the content of the job listing.
So Madame Bertha at the Rosebud.
Right, yeah. So I'm not entirely confident that I'll be able to actually do this task, whatever it might be. So I'm not actually going to take the notice.
All right. Well, you move on into the inn. It's absolutely packed inside. Everyone giggling and people enjoying the great weather by being indoors. Typical Europeans. You notice there's a couple of girls moving around. There's a blonde woman and a beautiful red-haired lady as they move around giving ale mugs to everyone. There's a fairly short fellow at the bar who's got a raggedy brown hair, and he's doing his best to keep up the cheerful banter with the other members and the patrons.
Need doctor! Need doctor!
Oh, what is that? That is awfully strange. What? You mean the furball? Or the fact it can talk? And people are just very confused at what they're looking at. One woman faints, and then another very big burly man, very muscular man, faints as well. A bit of ruckus for a while. It doesn't seem anyone really wants to get near and help you, Gorm, though. That's the problem.
Doctor!
Vargan is going to, not very incognito anymore, but walk over to the innkeeper.
Hello! Hello there, sir! Can I get you anything? What you be drinking today?
Give a glance behind him, see if there's any prices, because I am on a budget.
You could get some spirits for 10 crowns. You could get some beer for 5. I'd say 5 crowns for a beer is probably good. Probably good.
Unrealistic European prices.
I'll ask for a beer and a big mug.
Absolutely. Right, coming up. I don't suppose you and your friends there are looking for any well-priced rooms for the night?
We may be.
I'll do you a nice deal. 8 crowns for a 4-person room.
Doctor!
Is he yours, perchance?
And he points past your shoulder at Gorm, who's like rolling around on the ground at this point, holding his leg.
He is one of my companions, yes.
Oh. Anything wrong with him?
His leg is badly bruised. He needs a doctor to aid him. He also suffers a little bit. He looks behind him and leads him. There's a swirling motion next to his temple. He needs a little bit of help up here, too.
Doctor!
Oh, aye.
If you know if there's a doctor, maybe able to help both of those needs.
Doctor!
Well, I heard Doc Berryheart's just got back from his journey north. Academic pursuits or some such, I don't know. Not seen him through yet, not sight of him. Heard a few of his closer patients, have though. Couldn't say who they are, none of my business, who and who doesn't turn up outside his shop. Other than that...
Do you know where his shop?
You could check out the academy. Well, his shop? Well, it's just down the road from here and left.
Mr. Berryheart, you said.
Berryheart. Dr. Ven Berryheart.
Thank you. We'll take those rooms. Write it under Ragnar.
Will do. Ragnar. Right, got it. A little grey roof building just before you get to the southern gate.
Thank you. He lifts the mug, drinks it, and if there's a person close to him, he says you can have a rest.
Oh, and tonight we're going to have a brawling competition. Maybe you and your Witcher friend there might want to punch each other in the face.
I normally don't advocate violence, but...
Well,
We understand, but there's 50 crowns in it each if you take part. 100 crown to the winner.
Something to consider. Thank you.
Doctor!
And then I'm gonna go over to Gorm and say, I must apologize. I said some ill things of you in the pursuit of our goal.
Doctor?
But there's someone called Mr. Ben Berryheart that's just down the road with a shop that recently came back. He might be worthwhile visiting.
And then Gorm kind of forgets his character and just kind of hops up and...
It's a miracle! He's alive! No, darling, he's just well.
Berry heart, you said.
Yes, Ben Berryheart.
Plucked straight from the summer vine. All right.
Vargan doesn't say that the name went straight over his head, he just nods yes.
He's so sharp. He's getting sharper.
I'm getting old.
It's just getting older.
Interestingly enough, Berryheart would also have worked if it indeed was wine and not a vine.
Yeah.
Look at this. They're all detectives in the making. But yeah, it's a pretty stiff stay to remain indoors with everyone shoulder to shoulder. So when you find your way back out, there's some more of that fresh midday air, or morning air, should we say, is it?
Fresh with the scent of human shite.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of very little drainage in these kind of places. But yeah, you do have a room now. Did you pass over the 8 crowns, by the way?
I did, yes.
Count that off, and you guys do have a room here tonight as well, which is better than a hammock.
Under name Ragnar. He tells you guys if you want to stay there, you can use that name to just sleep.
I have to ask you, what is it you do next? What is the plan?
We're just gonna run up there, break the window, grab the guy, I think.
Yeah.
Break the window. God, this is a plan. Yeah. So, should we say that you wander on down to just have a look around and check out this?
Yeah.
Well, after a short walk, and a very short walk at that, you eventually do see the southern gate with its little towers guarding it. And to the right, this building you've been told about, because before stands you a thin terraced townhouse. Not a single light appears to reflect in from behind the frosted windows that gaze into the street. All appears dark within. Above the front door hangs a physician's sign. A thin placard on the door itself reads, Dr. Ven Berryheart, physician and alchemist.
Very promising.
Gorm waddles up and starts knocking on the door.
You really give it some bangs. Nothing happens, no one answers. No lights turn on, no candlelight.
Considering the state that the Witcher discovered Kalkstein's shop, he sort of sighs and goes, well, that's promising.
Is there any open windows, or just the door itself even open? Is it locked?
The window to your right is one of those beautiful latticed windows of a very Renaissance period, and the glass is frosted, thin frosted. There isn't any windows open on a lower level floor. Not something they tend to do in these kind of settlements, simply because you just climb in.
Looking around, are there any people in the vicinity?
Go ahead and make me an awareness check.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh, because you get penalties to awareness because you have poor sight.
-4.
Yeah, it's not that poor because you do check around, you do look, and it seems to be there's not really anyone around. The guards don't really frequent these kind of settlement outposts. They are further on land, whereas Oxenfurt is in the middle of the river. The bridges that lead across to both sides are more guarded at those points of entry.
How we get into Doctor?
Well, I suggest we don't break in immediately.
I'll just try to open it in case it's unlocked.
Locked. Yeah, can you imagine if you were at this for 20 minutes wondering what to do and he just opens the door? That'd be hilarious.
Is it a building that is like between other buildings, like stuck between other buildings, or is that like a back or anything like that?
There doesn't.
Upper floor?
I mean, you can go around and have a look. You can take a couple of minutes just to walk around the building and see what you can find. It is actually a terrace building. There is a house directly. It's the slate grey roof. There is a house on the right of it, on the left of it, and it's the one in the middle. So it's sharing the building, if that makes sense. And it's directly in the middle of these two.
Gorm kind of looks at Varg and is like,
Father, go ask neighbor.
As a sensible course of action.
Gorm with the ideas, man.
You're quite intelligent.
This is a good one. No.
I'm gonna go to the neighbor, because people like me.
The Witcher gives Gorm's head a little pat.
And again, there's mutant foreigners also, and witchers at the same time. Who are little mutant creatures. Or a literal foreign witch. We're out of our element.
All things considered, I think you might actually be the best choice.
Well, you head on round then and knock on the door of a neighbour.
Yeah, I do.
You try the first house on the left. Nobody answers. They're out.
Rude.
And then you try the house on the right. And after a few moments, there's scuffling of feet on the other side before a tip-a-tatting. The tip and tap of shoes as the door opens. And you see a rather thin man standing in front of you, bushy brown beard, kind of longish hair that's curled. Kind of those French curls at the bottom. He's done by himself. And he's there with a pair of scissors and a towel going, "Yes, what can I do for you?"
Greetings. Sorry to intrude, but do you know where Dr. Berryheart is?
Dr. Berryheart? No, I don't know. Was here a while ago. I heard him moving around. Awful bangs last night, actually. Terrible bangs. I went out to look, you see, because I thought maybe one of my clients had turned up, and he shows the scissors to you and snips them a few times, going, "I can give you a cut, by the way, if you want." And awful bangs. And I went and had a look, and I didn't see anything of the sort. Nothing, no problems. Not my business to pry, darling, he says as he looks forward, peers out the door to see the other three looming around the side. He notices the werebub and the witcher and just sits back and goes, "Whoa," as he comes away from the door. I dare say I probably shouldn't be, being seen sort of talking to sorts like you. Travellers, vagabonds, that sort of thing.
What, no haircut for the two of us?
He kind of looks around and he sees the witcher and he says, "No, closed hours now, not open."
Gorm just kind of waves.
He makes this kind of high-pitched noise as he sees the werebub waving at him. And he starts to close the door on your face, Varg, and he goes, "That's all I can help you with, I'm so sorry. Oh, but by the way, if you want a cut, come by any time. Very good prices here." Just closes the door on your face.
The Witcher has to sort of fight the urge to manipulate the fur on Gorm's head into a middle part.
Spits on his fingers.
Gorm grabs Othwin by his hand and just leads him back to the front door of the medical practice, and he kind of points and just goes, "Big boom now, okay?"
Oh,
Oh no.
Oda, audibly, "Oh no." Through the street.
Arthwin sort of thinks for a moment about how to handle this situation. He sort of kneels down next to his friend and goes, I think it's best if we wait a little bit longer with the big boom. There are probably other things we can do first.
Like what?
Perhaps we could get through the door in a different way.
At this point, Vargan, you just return to the group.
The neighbors said they heard a big bang last night.
Big bang door.
I was not certain if you meant my fringe.
The Witcher sort of snaps back into his more usual serious demeanor and sort of covers his forehead with his hand and gives a sigh. So, we're too late?
Oda moves up to the frosted window and actually try to maybe wipe it a bit with her sleeve, or like really trying to look straight into maybe a little clearer part.
You can go ahead and make me an awareness check as well.
While she's doing that, am I able to listen at the door?
You may definitely. You can also roll an awareness check and listen at the door.
That is a 24.
You crit and score a 24. Oda can hear a pin fall on the other side of Oxenfurt. And you fumble by an amount of 9, bringing your score down to a 5. Arthwin,
Who's the Witcher now?
Yeah, Arthwin, you walk up the steps, you stumble on one of the slate like stones, and have you ever landed on your kneecap before? Just as you just like full on the kneecap, and you just headbutt the door, and there's like a loud ringing noise, which startles you for a second, Oda, as you look to your left and you just see Arthwin just kneeling before the door, rubbing his forehead.
Roll 1d6 for damage.
No. But yeah, you're out of stamina.
So the Witcher's just kneeling at the door going...
Or like Peter Griffin style.
We just need to be there. We need 10 minutes of that in the show. But Oda, you take your cuff of your robe and you rub a kind of a mark into the glass, and you peer through. You know to take a few seconds to let your eyes adjust to the darkness within, and you see the signs of struggle, scattered papers, tables, chairs thrown over, a desk at the far end of the room just twisted. You can just about peek into the hallway where the door leads to a staircase leading up to somewhere, and you think you can... Is that a chair leg? It's hard to make out, but it's not good inside. It's not good at all.
I think, but that's not really used to being in a group. So unless someone says something immediately, she just starts moving around the building, like the terrace. Yeah.
The Witcher asks, "What do you see, Oda?"
It's not good. There definitely has been someone stirring up something inside.
And you can all see that now. Now you think of like actually going over and clearing the grass. The only person that I'm afraid can't see in is Gorm because he's short. But you do see through, and yeah, what Oda says calculates, adds up. But Oda, you said you're walking around the building, weren't you?
Yeah. I'm looking for like any upstairs entrances because you said there was at least like a staircase or something. So I'm looking for windows, anything.
It's about a minute of looking and you have your evaluation. This is a sealed building. There's no back gardens. There's no, it's more of a business situation here.
Gorm points to the door. Big boom now.
No, you don't need a big boom.
Is there such a thing as lockpicking?
There is definitely lockpicking, along with kicking as well. But lockpicking is always a great way to go first. You will need, for certain skill checks, you will need flat out to have a tool for it. Does anyone have a lockpick?
No.
I don't. Not the sort of thing that I usually do.
So you might have to use the Witcher's lockpick then, which comes in two varieties.
The big boom and the...
and the foot, yeah.
I don't know. I'm hesitant to go full FBI open up. I guess the kick would be less conspicuous.
It will be a physique check if you choose to. There's only enough space for two of you at once to do a kick in this space. And I will say that if two of you do it together, I will drastically reduce the DC from whatever it could be already.
Gorm, go make distraction and keep watch now. Gorm kind of waddles a bit towards the kind of marketplace nearby, and he's just like, ah!
Go ahead and roll me a performance check. I want a performance check this time. I mean, yeah, you get people's attention. I mean, you're not bringing them over to the building, you're keeping them away. There is a woman who sees you, and she approaches with her parasol. Oh, you poor puppy. Your owner has left you all right here.
Yes.
Oh, where's your lead?
So poor. Ah.
Your talk! Oh my god! Gerald, it's a talking dog! And she kind of runs off and she goes to find somebody else. But anyway, you're busy. You guys, Oda, Arthwin, Vargan, you have a moment now to decide what you want to do.
Let us stop hesitating. Let us do it quick and be done with it.
The Witcher nods quickly and says, I agree. Quickly, while he's got them distracted anyway. And he sort of gestures for Vargan and him to assume the position by the door.
Yeah. Take a couple step backwards, do the weird bear hunch as you're about to body tackle someone, but just end it in like a horrible frontal kick.
Okay, if you two want to go ahead and roll me a physique check, that would be just wonderful.
Right.
I will tell you the DC I'm looking for is 14.
Ah, man. What are you going to say it before I roll?
Because now
I don't have an excuse. I can re-roll it.
But you can re-roll that. You expend the aura of magic that you keep on yourself, the one protecting you from your next fumble. I think it was within 5 hours. And you never rolled the 0 with a fumble by 9, which should have been disastrous, by the way. Instead, you roll a 16. So we have an 18 from Arthwin the Grizzly and a 16 from Vargan the Teacher. Finally, it gives way. The frame splinters as the door swings backwards with a loud crack to reveal a scene of chaos within. Papers are scattered across the entrance hall, chairs thrown up and down the narrow staircase to the top floor. At the back of the room you entered is a desk, turned on its side, glass jars and mixing apparatus smashed across the floor and walls. Acid burns can be seen in the wood. Colours dried and drips down the work surfaces. Whatever happened here happened violently, and only ruin and carnage now remain. Now, that's the point before you say what you do next. Gorm, you hear the door bang, and at that moment, would you just give like a howl to try and time it up, right?
Yeah.
So no one hears.
He just starts screaming a little extra loud, like, Alec! Alex!
And then when that's enough for everyone else to stay away from you, you see out the corner of your eye the door blast open, and I guess the leg's fine now.
Gorm will get up and just kind of start waddling away from down towards the bridge down southwards. Just make sure no one's following or anything.
Sure. You hear a peculiar sound of someone saying, "What a strange creature." "Oh, they're all enraged back in Tretigor. I've seen 7 of them." "Really? Oh, yes." And just a couple of nobles very interested in werebubs and apparently think they know what they are. But inside, however, what is going on with the party inside the doctor's practice?
Well, just to follow up, Gorm isn't going to follow them inside. He'll just kind of stay outside near the building and keep an eye out.
Yep, no worries. Just sort of put your little arms across your chest and just stay by the steps.
Oda, you go over the notes. Arfin, see if you can't pick up a trail of some sort.
So, Arthwin, you roll a 23 awareness check to pick up on some smells. Things are a little distorted. There is some odd scents in this room. You pick up, like, people's pets. You pick up the fecal matter on the bottom of people's shoes. There's a lot of business going on here, and eventually you can single out a fresher scent. Stress and panic. Pheromones of, like, worry. You can smell unwashed man. You can smell it on the floor, on the wall, up on the ceiling? What a peculiar place to track a scent. However, you can't follow it out the door because it doesn't go out the door. It goes up the stairs. And you continue on up the stairs and you smell it on the wall still, out the back window. And there, the scent ends.
Do I see anything out the window?
I mean, across from you, the building across, you do see some broken slates. Out of that window, you see there's a kind of like a red slated roof, and it's got a few missing.
Does it look leapable by the average person?
Not even by you. Not even by you.
Oh, it's on the far.
Yeah, it's probably 20 meters.
Oh, do I smell or see any ingredients or tools or something that would indicate that the person that worked here was practiced in the arcane?
Well, you've already seen that this is a physician's place, and you can smell that anisey smell of all the kind of herbs and the floral elements. It's difficult to pick out particulars. But, upstairs here, the chaos continues in this room just as much when you look around. The bed has been thrown over from its moorings, the mattress upturned and slashed. Scholarly clothes litter the floor, along with rags and pages of scribbled nonsense. There is a cabinet, though, beside the bed that hasn't been opened, and a tall, broken mirror in the corner of the room. Like a full-length mirror. It's been smashed.
I'm gonna give the rest of the party the information that I have, let them know that the path the scent leads from here out the window, and I point out the tiles on the other side.
You are now in an ongoing investigation. So let me explain it to you. The DC is pretty high. This is where it starts. You won't know it. It's secret. Then, as you guys work things out, whether it's a clue, a good skill check, if you make personal deductions, or, you guys simply just have your own ideas that you act on, whatever it is, if this covers any of the investigation secrets that I have written down in front of me, I will then drop this DC by an amount based on your accuracy and efforts. All right? So at any point during this investigation, you can ask to make a single deduction check each to solve the mystery. Unless, of course, you work it out before then.
Yeah.
Arfwin, do you smell any blood?
The Witcher shakes his head and goes, "Not a drop."
That's good. Then there's a good chance he's still alive.
And the door was locked when we got here, so no one got through the front door or came out that way anyway.
The Witcher sort of sniffs again just to remind himself of that, the scent of the stressed, unwashed man, and follows it back out towards the window again. And he looks at the rest and goes, "Our doctor didn't leave through the door."
I go through some of the notes downstairs.
Okay. So you go through some of the notes. A lot of them are just receipts for services, money paid. This guy clearly cared very much about this business, about treating it professionally. Everything was coverable for the taxes, for the people in charge, the authorities. Mm-hmm. But when you open up one of the drawers in the table, in the desk, you do find a ledger book, like a record of services provided. You just find yourself going through it. The following book contains a few years' worth of records for Dr. Berryhart's patient activities. You note that in the last week there has been little activity save a final page at the back of the book. The handwriting itself grows progressively worse with each passing day.
A lot of Sephra I'm seeing here. Alicia Gladden? I owed her pain medication, already paid for. Allspice ritual work. Sephra provided a new batch of sedative. Her stores were empty. Benjamin Fox lands the boils up on his genitals. Okay. Sephra again hesitantly provided more sedative, likely a higher dose is needed for her. Sephra again provided counsel. She was tearful, angry. She left with more sedative. Madame Bertha, glass embedded in her back, claims she felt odd. Sephra again, not been well. She said, taken last dose I have, sedative. Sephra again, she knows. Told her where. Now? Goon. Gone? Gone. Oda taps the name Sephra. Well, whatever it is. This person's ought to know more. Apparently the doctor told her something of importance. Maybe she had something to do with this well-being.
Just to clarify, this is happening downstairs?
Yes, it is. Absolutely, down in the office. But before you leave, one thing you probably would want to pick up is inside the cabinet beside the bed. When you open it, you see that there is a big dusted old journal up here as well.
The Witcher will probably just grab that and head it down, because it sounds like they've discovered something.
Absolutely. Well, you see him there, Oda, just coming down with this dusted book in his hands.
What did you find?
I was about to ask you the same thing. And he holds up a journal.
This small journal contains a vast number of entries over the previous year. Many of them are superfluous and full of tedious medical observations, though the most recent entry catches your eyes as strange. It is dated 2 weeks ago. Superstitious nonsense, surely. I did everything I could for that girl. The plague was rancid on her. What I did was a mercy. Her mother should have thought carefully before sprouting such foul words against me. What if a witch hunter heard her? It doesn't bear much to think about. I've heard worse from the family of my former patients. Regardless, I head home tomorrow, and not a moment sooner. I've had my fill of these pagans and country folk.
Does Arthwin read this out to us?
I'm assuming I do, yeah.
Yeah.
As he finishes reading the entry, he closes the book and looks up at Oda and says, "It certainly sounds like we knew his intentions. He intended to leave, though it doesn't look like he made a choice."
The girl he speaks of, that must surely be the girl from the ledger. Is there any dates in the ledger? Leo, dear DM.
The ledger is... I'm trying to avoid using hard dates right now, apart from just the year, which is 1272.
Or like days or anything.
But like, it's most recently in the last week. These notes are in the last week.
Yeah, okay.
The journal is 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
That makes sense. It's about then when he came back, so this might be an encounter he had while he was on this expedition of sorts.
May I see the ledger, Oda?
Of course.
And you see this collection of names and this Sephra showing up multiple times.
He looks through the ledger and notes the reappearing name, also giving a slightly juvenile chuckle at the mention of genital boils. He also notes Madame Bertha That sounds like the name of the person who was looking for sellswords.
This is why you're not a doctor, by the way, because Arthwin is going through the ledger and just laughing at all the funny illnesses.
As he goes through it, he chuckles to himself. Benjamin Vox, pox of the cocks.
So, the plague, is that like the actual, like, the plague that they refer to as?
So, what you know of, when people refer to, and this is for all of you, when people refer to the plague in the Northern Realms, they are, I'm afraid, talking about the Catriona. Its mortality rate is disgustingly high, and that is because it is actually the Black Death from our own world. Though, of course, you don't know this in character, but what you know is the mortality rate is up in the 90%.
Yeah. Is sedative something that is usually given to people?
As a herbalist and as a known, I'm not going to ask you to roll anything because I know you have high stats and these sort of things. You would know that, I mean, the only thing you would use sedatives for is to calm people down, help them sleep, and at worst, overdose them? That's something you could do, but it says here in the ledger she's had multiple batches and run out at times, so...
Yeah.
It's a little odd. Little odd. Definitely won't help the plague, though.
Anything else in the shop? Like, when I just look, or is there, like, anything that's saved at all in terms of, like...
It's interesting you ask that, actually. I was wondering if you were going to ask for a final look around, because you notice that there are no supplies. There are no alembics or alchemy sets. There's no pipes or bottles or leather bags. You don't even see gauze or splints. The entire physician's suite has been taken out.
Does it look similar to how Kokstein's place was left behind in terms of what's the kind of things that are left behind, or?
Similar, but not quite. Kokstein's was attacked. It was roughed up. You were there when the raid came. It was mostly guards that did it. This place has been very carefully cleaned up for its worth, and then the rest has been destroyed.
Okay. You said you didn't smell any other man in here, or anyone else in here.
A single, stressed, sweaty man who did not leave through that door.
So the doctor might have done this himself. Obviously, he was not well.
It would make sense that if anyone cleaned this place out so thoroughly and knowingly, it would be the doctor himself. And Arthwin is going to head towards the stairs again. As
you do, you turn around and you notice Gorm is there with a young woman who's got a basket, and she's leaning down going, "Have you lost your mother? Can I help you?" And she looks up and she sees the witcher standing in the stairways. She looks back at Gorm in the eyes. "Never mind. Have a good day. Look after yourself." And she just walks back up the road. You heading up the stairs, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to head towards the mirror.
The mirror has been struck. It's been hit.
Struck.
And the glass shatters in a way where something has physically hit it in the center. And the shards have fallen. A lot of them, shattered, but you can see from the grain, from the, streaks of the glass where the impact was, and that was in the middle.
Does it look to have been something large?
Well, there is a broken chair not far from where the mirror was, and one of the chair legs has some shards of glass in it. It very well could be that the chair was thrown into the mirror.
And the window, how high up are we?
You would be typical first floor height, so we're talking, what was that, 8 meters up from the ground?
Right, so survivable, but not exactly comfortable.
Not comfortable. You could possibly, you very possibly could break a leg.
Very likely to break something.
Yeah.
And the tiles on the far side, you said they were cracked?
They were cracked, yeah.
If the doctor did this himself, I'm not entirely convinced he did this through any mundane means. He points sort of out the window at the tiles. If he fell from this height, he may have damaged his legs. If he, indeed, as it looks like, made it all the way across there, he certainly didn't do so with any normal pair of legs.
What are you insinuating?
I don't know. I just find it very peculiar that a man would empty his shop and leave via the window 8 or so meters up.
Are we sure he's left the building?
At that thought, he sort of thinks about it for a minute, and I'm fairly convinced. And I tell Vargan as such.
Wait, I would ask for the journal again from Arthwin.
Hand it over.
She just scans over the words a couple of times more. I should have known. The sedative. Sometimes, well, with the plague, there is no cure. And the doctor mentions what he did was a mercy, and that her mother should have thought carefully before sprouting such foul words against him. What if there's something more going on here? I've known these cases myself. Maybe, well, something obviously changed within the man.
Perhaps he contracted something from the girl?
Leo?
Yes?
Do I know of a hex that changes someone, or rather, makes them sort of mad in a way that you could, technically make that jump?
Do you have that hex?
Do I? No, I don't. No.
Then no.
Oh.
You do not know of such a hex that can do that right now.
Okay. Damn it! Well, in any case, I think we should, we might have to have a word with her mother.
One of the things you do notice as you're going through this is that evident sneaking feeling that no matter what you're doing here, there is definitely some part of the puzzle that is missing. Something unacquired, something perhaps more you need to know, more you need to investigate.
I'm going to call in for everyone. We need to call in some guidance from another world if we want to progress with this. And then I'm going to try to bless everyone, really. Which may backfire colossally.
That's 3. Unless it's just yourself. Is it yourself and 2 others?
Unless Gorm comes in, then it's just the 3 of us.
Waiting outside.
Yeah. Then you go ahead and need 3 separate spellcasting checks, all beating a DC 10.
I'm going to do myself first for some obvious reasons, perhaps.
20. You bless yourself.
And then I'll do Oda. And then we'll do Witcher again. Hey!
Okay, so you're all blessed, so the next fumble you make in the next 4 hours.
Yes. He calls for everyone to hold hands like they do in the ritualistic Skellige, naturally. And then as he goes on to whisper in the elderly speech, his whispers sort of fades into this echoing crows cawing, as it's like a sudden gust of wind that rises up and relaxes in the room.
The blessing helps you feel a little more confident, but actual direct knowledge is still lost on you, even though Arthur waits an extra second to see if it comes in.
Okay. Is there anything we haven't looked at?
I'm not sure there's much here that we haven't looked at, but there's certainly a lot here. And he taps on the records.
And Oda, you peer around the room and you have turned this place. You even put the desk back up again to see if there's anything underneath it. And apart from the stains where apparatus used to be that were very carefully taken, you see nothing further.
Alright, I'm going to take a careful look over everything all over again, like every room, every cabinet. Bro, I'll knock on some walls in case they're hollow.
So we'll say you're doing that for a couple more minutes then. Outside Gorm, you are noticing that a couple of people have seen that the doctor's door is open again. You see one man come down, he's got a poorly arm, and he goes, "Is Dr. Berryheart back again? Is he open? I've gone and did this in the bloody plough," he says as he looks down at his arm, which is holding on by about 3 bits of tissue.
Gorm just kind of looks at the man. It's just like, no, Barry man, not back. No.
But the door's open.
No.
Kind of nearly swears.
No. Door not open.
Go ahead and just roll me a deceit check at -4 because you're telling me the door's not open and it's right in front of you. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I'm a bit delusional. It looks open to me.
No, door not open.
Door not open. Okay. And this guy walks off. A couple more people start coming down the street. Some of them are now going, "It looks like something's going on. Do we need to get the guards?" "Oh, I don't think so." "Oh, maybe."
And Gorm kind of calls out a bit louder, like, no guards, no.
What is that? Is it furry?
No guards, no.
All right. Time for us to leave.
Yeah. So while this is happening, Arthwin has the records and Oda has the journal. Mm-hmm. And Arthwin is going to, as sneakily as possible, he does have a hood, I believe. Mm-hmm. He's going to pop that on and try to discreetly just leave without, he draws enough attention as it is.
Make a stealth check for me. Standard flat stealth check. Pretty good. You just slink away, just kind of sniff under the nose, keep your head down, just walk out. Little wave behind your shoulder to make it look like you were talking to someone in there, and you just head out. Do you go in a particular direction, or do you take Gorm by the hand and just drag him along?
Obviously, straight for Gorm.
You just get pulled. And he's still going, no door, as you're pulling him along.
As I pull him along, I'm just like, Gorm, lesson number 2. The fastest way to get people to call the guards is to tell them not to call the guards.
Oda and Vargin, you see kind of an older man's head pop in and going, lovely, is Dr. Berry Hart? Oh God, what happened in here? As he looks around the room and sees you two there.
You know the doctor.
Are you supposed to be in here? He looks around and starts putting 2 and 2 together.
I'm the doctor's friend, but I was just looking for him, and Oda begins to step outside.
Roll me a deceit check.
12.
He scowls at you for a second and says, I don't like this. I need to talk to my wife about this. And he just turns around and leaves.
Well. Vargan, are you coming?
I'm still looking around.
You find nothing more, Vargan. Unless there's something specific you're trying to do.
It's just a lost look.
Oda moves towards Arthwin and actually pulls up a bit of her hood as well.
Yeah, you join up with the other 2, and eventually Vargan, I imagine you join them as well.
Yeah, he'll just walk out. He doesn't put up a hood or anything. He walks up loud and proud.
Plan worked, yes? We find Berryman.
Yeah.
We need to find a Sephra.
Do you know if places like these keep records of plague victims at all?
That would be the records there, or the Morik graveyard.
No, we asked man in knows everything.
That is all we have time for today. So perhaps we'll find out next time if the barman truly knows everything. You've been listening to The Witcher, Chaos on the Pontar. Until next time, bye-bye.